Right, so this is now another surah. Tomorrow we're moving on to 105, but this is, as I said I would in my mind, right? Talk about this particular issue that has been happening with me, and it's to reach those who it is also happening with, people who are hearing voices and so on, and it has to do a lot with not madness, right? It has to do a lot with British colonialism, slavery, religion, right? Colonialism, slavery, religion, right? Sex, right? Lust, right? Those are the things that it has to do with British colonialism, sex, money, right? Who own who and who don't want to pay who, right? Sex, right? Those things it has to do with, right? And people are being forced to pay money. Now the lower class, it is an attempt to eradicate the lower class, right? And what they are doing is broadcasting voices into people's head, telling them that I am the prophet, and others had to die for me, right? Others do have to die for me, right? You not dying for me, right? So what they are doing is broadcasting this information in the minds and the heads of the lower class, right? Which I suspect that is what they are doing, right? I suspect that's what they are doing, because people watching me real weird when I go out there, and I don't appreciate it, right? Because I never do nobody nothing. I never do nobody nothing. And people be watching me real weird, like if I do them something when they go out there, right? So what I suspect has been happening, like what has been happening with me, right? They are broadcasting this information into people's head that, oh, Jaya is a prophet, Jaya is a prophet, and telling people they have to die for me. They have to pay other people money and die for me, right? Nobody have to pay, nobody in Caribbean. I repeat, there's no one in the Caribbean region who have to pay money to anybody else. There's nobody within the lower class in the Caribbean, right? Let me repeat that. Let me put these words correctly out there. There's nobody within the lower class in the Caribbean who has been victims of suffering in any form or fashion, who have to pay money to anybody else due to me being any kind of prophet or anything. Nor do you have to die for me. Right? What you have to do is to hear the people who are doing this, broadcasting this bullshit into your head, right? To eliminate you from the world, to prevent you from getting that which is due to you, which they owe to you, right? You don't have to, there's no one in the lower class who have to pay anything to anybody, right? Or die for me or die for anybody else, right? What you have to do is wait for what you are owed, right? Wait for what you are owed. Right? And what they have to do is to pay what they owe, right? So let's clear up that story for people who are lying in the upper class in other countries in the world. I'm talking about at a top level. What they do is broadcast voices into people's head, right? And that is why people are watching me weird when I go outside, right? When I never do anybody anything, right? So what you have to do, right, is to ignore those voices. The lower class in the Caribbean region do not owe anybody anything, right? The middle class would have worked for what they have, right? And the upper class, who are the leaders in the Caribbean region, need to stop listening to external voices and pay attention to their own people, right? And the British monarchy have to do their dues and pay Trinidad and Tobago. France have to pay their dues and pay Haiti, right? Full fucking stop. Good.